Press, the host of Bill Press Pods, the author of 10 books, Trump Must Go, and From the Left. He was also an aide to Jerry Brown when he was and chair of the California Democratic Party in the 90s, hosted the long-running Bill Press Show on radio, and continues a weekly column for The Hill and a syndicated column for Tribune Media. BillPressPods.com is the website. BillPressPod is the Twitter handle. And here is Bill Press, pod person. Hey, Bill.
Tom, how are you? It's been too damn long.
I agree. So Joe Manchin is giving a speech right now. I listened to a clip of it just as we were coming on the air. And he basically said, you Democrats, you progressives in the House, you need to stop holding the BIF bill. This is the Republican, Democrat, so-called bipartisan non-reconciliation bill that they've already passed in the Senate. He says, you need to stop holding that hostage. And if you think holding it hostage is going to get me to change my tune on the reconciliation bill, you're wrong. I'm not quoting, I'm paraphrasing, but basically he's calling the progressives bluff. How do you think this is going to play out?
Yeah, look, first of all, I do think, maybe I'm the eternal optimist, Tom. I think in the end, we're going to get both bills. We're going to get a hard infrastructure bill. We're going to get a human infrastructure bill. But damn it, Joe Manchin, look, if he wants progressives to vote on the BIF, right, the hard infrastructure bill, roads and bridges and highways and stuff, all he's got to do is say, and I'll vote for the other bill.
No, he did not say that. He said, I will continue to work on it.
Right. No, I'm saying he will not say that. Now, I happen to think that the progressives should, last week when Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi both encouraged them to hold a vote just on that hard infrastructure, I think they should have done it. But I understand why they didn't. You know why? They don't trust Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. And Tom, you can't blame them for not trusting those two, right?
Yeah.
And look at Manchin today. He could end it all today. Here's Joe Biden on the world stage. Joe Manchin could end it all today, but he's so wrapped up in his own West Virginia funk, right, that he won't do it. Pisses me off.
Yeah, but it's not West Virginia. I mean, the majority of West Virginians want the stuff that is in the reconciliation bill. It's the fact that, he owns a couple of coal companies. He makes over $1 million a year from coal. He's got the fossil fuel industry. Him and Kyrsten Sinema are taking lobbyist donations at 3 times the rate of any of their colleagues right now. Just these two. And they're not even up for re-election. It's crazy. Which brings me to the second issue. I'm beginning to think that Kyrsten Sinema, I mean, over the last couple of months, the drumbeat that I keep getting is that she is getting closer and closer and closer to the Charles Koch, the Koch network, the right-wing billionaires. They're inviting her to things. They're showering money on her. The Republicans are running ads praising her in Arizona. She and the polls are showing that she would lose a primary to a progressive Democrat. I'm thinking that she's going to run as a Republican next time, and I'm wondering when she's going to flip. I'm hoping it doesn't happen in the next year. What do you think?
By the way, I just want to agree with you. I did not mean to disparage the people of West Virginia. In fact, West Virginia would benefit probably as a state more from this infrastructure bill, the Build Back Better bill, than any other state. So, but Manchin is not representing his people, Tom. You're absolutely right. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Sinema flips. She started out as a liberal Democrat, or at least progressive Democrat, right? Now, who the hell knows what she is? She says she's still a Democrat. She could easily move and be a Republican. I don't think she's a Democrat. I think she's, in effect, a Republican right now.
I think she's Roseanne Barr, Bill.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Roseanne Barr started out as a Green. She started out, in fact, she started out to the left of the Greens. Then she tried to run for office as a Green and then failed. And then she tried to become a Democrat and failed. And then she ran for president. I'm forgetting exactly what she ran for, but eventually she became a Trumpkin. And at every stage, I believe that she just made the choice, what's going to get me the most time on television? What's going to get me the most publicity? What's going to work best to my advantage? And I think that is the story of Kyrsten Sinema and her political career. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. Absolutely right. And all I pray for, is a strong Democratic opponent to Kyrsten Sinema if she runs again as a Democrat.
But that's in 4 years.
By the way, that's the problem. I was going to say, meanwhile, she's hurting Mark Kelly, right, who's up for re-election this year. All these games that she's playing and all this backstabbing she's doing to Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, the Democratic Party, is not helping Mark Kelly at all. No, as far as I'm concerned, maybe we'd be better off if she did become a Republican. I mean, I hate to say that, but
not immediately. It would blow up the ability of the Senate to even get Joe Biden. I mean, you've got most of our ambassador positions are empty. We've got judges stacking up. This is the exact same thing that happened under Obama. Well, and if Mitch McConnell takes over the Senate, boy, are we going to be screwed.
Yeah, and on that point, Tom, there's a lot of criticism of the fact that rightfully so, I think, that the Democrats controlling the White House, the Senate, and the House have not been able to pass these two infrastructure bills. But you got to give them credit for at least being in the game and trying to do something. The damn Republicans have opted out, right? They are AWOL. They don't care about anything: child care, housing, universal pre-K, education, climate change, none of it. They have said no matter how big it is, no matter what's in it, they're going to vote against it. I mean, that this is their version of governing. I mean, give me a break, right? So
Bill, you are. I described you earlier as one of the ultimate D.C. insiders. I mean, you know everybody in that city. You know what's going on. You've lived there forever. You've been a reporter. I mean, you used to be the head of the Democratic Party in California back in the day. What is your sense of what the next couple of years are going to bring? We've got these. You got this Trump neo-fascist faction that is, using racism and homophobia, transphobia, all the hatred basically as a political weapon. You've got a few remaining Republicans. Now Adam Kinzinger says he's not going to run. Of course, he got redistricted out anyway. But you've got the Republican Party going through a major metamorphosis or transformation. And the Democratic Party is also in a major transition. I mean, the progressives, for the first time since the 1970s, have major power in the Democratic Party at the national level. Where does this all go? It seems to me that if the current incarnation of the Republican Party seizes power again, it might be the end of the American experiment. Is that hyperbole?
I don't think it is. I am not maybe as pessimistic as you, but I do think that the critical question facing the country right now, one of the most certainly, is the direction of the Republican Party. I'm sure you've talked I interviewed Christine Todd Whitman last week, and you've got people like her, people like Liz Cheney, people like Bill Kristol, who are really, and Adam Kinzinger, even though he won't be in Congress any longer, really are trying to get the Republican Party back to being a common sense, at least opposition party. And I think whether they succeed or not is going to determine perhaps the survival of our democracy, Tom. I think we're in a real crunch, in a real crisis. I do believe we'll come out of it okay. I think our institutions will survive. I think that in the short term, as I said, I think we're going to get two infrastructure bills by the end of November, anyhow, by Thanksgiving, let's say. And by the way, Tom, I'm sure you point out to your listeners, if Joe Biden gets those two bills, even in their reduced form, that's $5 trillion in new programs that he will have put in place in his first 11 months in office, which is more than FDR and LBJ did combined in their first year. So, that's something. I think if they get that done, then Democrats will have something to run on in 2022. I don't believe that Republicans are going to take over the House in 2022. And I don't believe Donald Trump, even if he runs, could get reelected in 2024.
Yeah, I'm with you on Trump not getting reelected. I think you're going to get a different fascist in there on the Republican side. But we'll see where all this shakes out. The legendary Bill Press and his great pods over at BillPressPods.com. The Twitter handle, BillPressPod. Happy podding, Bill.
All right.
keep up the great podcast. Okay, thanks a lot.